The tales of treachery and revenge write themselves in the shadowy corridors of power, where silence is a virtue and loyalty is valued in blood. Welcome to Electrifying Top 10, another amazing episode of Mafia Chronicles. Today we dig into the dark and hazardous realm of organized crime, examining 10 infamous hits and assassinations imprinted on history. From the vicious tactics of the Italian mafia to the calculating actions of the Russian mob, these stories will send chills down your spine. So grab your favorite beverage, settle in, and let us begin our adventure into the most deadly moments of the underworld. Number 10. Joe Masseria. Joe Masseria's story contains many twists and turns. Masseria ruled the New York crime family of the same name from 1922 to 1931. Masseria fought fellow criminal Salvatore Marenzano for complete control of New York in what became known as the Case de la Marise War. However, in 1931, Masseria's lieutenant, Lucky Luciano, betrayed his employer and struck a deal with Marenzano, establishing himself as second in charge. Luciano was shot to death inside Nuova Via Tamaro, a Coney Island restaurant, after orchestrating Masseria's assassination. Following Masseria's death, Marenzano was appointed boss of all bosses, but he was also assassinated by Luciano, who went on to establish the Commission. Number 9. Santino Di Matteo. Santino Di Matteo, a Sicilian mafia member, became an informant and retaliated against his colleagues, drawing the attention of other mafioso. Santino could not capture his son Giuseppe due to police protection. Giuseppe was kidnapped by gangsters dressed as police officers and imprisoned for more than 2 years. Santino tried to rescue Giuseppe, but it was too late. Giuseppe was slain on January 11, 1996, the 779th day of his incarceration. Number 8. Thomas Desimone. Thomas Desimone may be better known as the fictionalized Tommy DeVito, the hot-headed and maniacal gangster portrayed by Joe Pesci in Goodfellas. DeVito is based on Desimone, who worked for New York's Lucchese crime family and participated in several murders, including those of William Benvena and Ronald Girate. Desimone disappeared in January 1979, and most historians assume he was assassinated. According to famous informant Henry Hill, Desimone was executed on the instructions of John Gotti and the Gambino crime family in vengeance for the deaths of Benvena and Giroti. Number 7. Santino Di Matteo. Remember how we said we'd go back to Santino Di Matteo? So here we are. His biography begins with Giovanni Falcone, a bold and daring Italian prosecutor who took harsh measures against the mafia. He oversaw the famed Maxi trial in the late 1980s and early 1990s, which resulted in 338 convictions and 19 life sentences for various bosses. However, on May 23, 1992, the mafia retaliated. They buried over 900 pounds of explosives beneath a bridge and detonated them when Falcone drove over it, killing him and several others. Di Matteo participated in this hit and later became an informant, divulging all the circumstances of the assassination. Number 6. Boston's Blackfriars. On the early morning of June 28, 1978, a group of men stormed into Boston's Blackfriars pub and attacked the patrons who were playing backgammon. 5 individuals were killed in the attack, including the owner, Vincent Solmonte, and the night manager, John Kelly. The pub's janitor later discovered their bodies. The perpetrators have never been identified, although police suspect it was a gangland shooting organized by the Irish mob. They discovered trace amounts of illegal narcotics at the site, and both Solmonte and Kelly were accused of having personal ties to the mob. Some suspect the shooting was coordinated by Whitey Bulger, the well-known criminal featured in the 2015 film Black Mass. Number 5. Albert Anastasia. Albert Anastasia, a co-founder of the American Mafia, led the organized group Murder, Inc., and what is now known as the Gambino criminal family. He immediately gained a reputation for being brutal, garnering terrifying nicknames such as Lord High Executioner and the One-Man Army. However, Anastasia's reputation for brutality attracted several similarly violent enemies, which culminated on October 25, 1957. Anastasia was getting his hair trimmed at the Park Sheraton Hotel when 2 gunmen stormed in and shot him dead. The orders came from rival crime bosses Vito Genovese and Carlo Gambino, who betrayed Anastasia and made the latter head of the family. Number 4. Carmine Galante. Carmine Galante, often known as the Cigar, was the acting boss of the Bonanno criminal family in the late 1970s. He was at odds with the Gambino family over control of New York's illegal drug trade. However, his ambition raised concerns about his violent and aggressive behavior. In 1979, he was murdered by masked guys in a Brooklyn restaurant while still smoking a cigar. Number 3. Paul Castellano. Paul Castellano ran the Gambino crime family from 1976 until 1985, succeeding Carlo Gambino, who died of a heart attack. Underboss Agnello Della Croce died of cancer in 1985, and Castellano declined to attend his wake, aggravating the other mafiosos. To make matters worse, Castellano appointed an undeserving mobster called Thomas Bellotti to underboss, infuriating an already enraged bunch of gangsters. John Gotti and a group of conspirators assassinated Castellano and Bellotti outside Sparks Steakhouse. Following these two deaths, Gotti became the leader of the Gambino family. Number 2. Bugsy Siegel. Bugsy Siegel, one of the most renowned gangsters in American history, played a pivotal role in the creation of Las Vegas gambling culture. Siegel, a prolific bootlegger in New York, traveled out west when Prohibition was repealed in 1933, and his cultural reputation grew, propelling him to the status of true fame. However, his Flamingo Hotel had a catastrophic start, and he immediately became in debt to the mob. Some suspected Siegel of skimming building money for personal gain. A contract was placed on his life, and on June 20, 1947, Siegel was shot by a sniper while reading in his girlfriend's house. The shooter has not been identified. Number 1. The St. Valentine's Day Massacre. Speaking of Prohibition, we've arrived at the most well-known gangland shooting in history. On Valentine's Day 1929, 4 unknown assailants lined up 7 guys from Chicago's North Side mob and shot them with Tommy guns. The North Side mob and Al Capone's Chicago outfit fought for control of the city and bootlegging activities. The shooting made international headlines and is now associated with mob violence. Most people believe the guys were assassinated under Capone's orders to eliminate North Side commander Bugs Moran and his lieutenants. Moran survived until 1957. Please share any additional infamous gangland stories in the comments. And there you have it, folks. 10 infamous strikes and assassinations that have left an indelible impression on the world of organized crime. From the streets of Chicago to the back alleys of New York City, these startling acts of violence highlight the ruthlessness and unforgiving character of the criminal underworld. Thank you for joining us on this dark and captivating trip through the Mafia Chronicles. Stay tuned for more exciting and riveting stories from organized crime. Until next time, be cautious and vigilant. Goodbye for now.